In a secluded corner of the countryside, hidden among the thick, shadowy trees, stood Blackwood Manor. Once a grand estate, it had long fallen into disrepair, shrouded in mystery and whispered legends. Locals avoided it, speaking in hushed tones about the strange occurrences that plagued its halls. One stormy night, a group of friends, Sarah, Mike, Emily and Jake, decided to explore the infamous manor. It was a dare, born from boredom and a few too many ghost stories. Armed with flashlights and a camera, they made their way to the crumbling mansion. The gate creaked as they pushed it open, and the overgrown path to the front door seemed to swallow their footsteps. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. A flash of lightning illuminated the manor's facade, revealing shattered windows and ivy creeping up the walls like skeletal fingers. They hesitated at the entrance, but Sarah, the boldest of the group, pushed open the door. It groaned in protest, revealing a dark, musty foyer. Dust motes danced in the beams of their flashlights. The air inside was stale, and an eerie silence enveloped them. "Let's stick together," Mike suggested, his voice echoing unnervingly. They moved through the manor, exploring room after room of forgotten grandeur. Each step stirred up clouds of dust and a sense of unease. In the parlour, a grand piano stood silent, its keys yellowed with age. In the library, shelves sagged under the weight of neglected books. Everywhere they looked, the past seemed to cling to the present like a shadow. As they ventured deeper, they began to hear things, a faint whisper here, a distant footstep there. Emily clung to Jake, her anxiety mounting with every passing minute. The group found themselves in a long hallway lined with portraits. The eyes of the painted figures seemed to follow them, their expressions growing more sinister in the flickering light. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her flashlight trembling in her hand. A low, mournful moan echoed through the hall. They exchanged nervous glances but pressed on, drawn by a morbid curiosity. The sound led them to a door at the end of the hallway, slightly ajar. As they approached, a chill seeped into the air, and their breath fogged in front of them. Inside, the room was dark, save for a flickering candle on a rickety table. The friends stepped in cautiously, their flashlights scanning the room. Old furniture was covered in white sheets and cobwebs draped from the ceiling like ghostly curtains. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind them. Emily screamed, and they all spun around to see a figure standing in the shadows, a woman in a tattered dress, her eyes hollow and her mouth twisted in a silent scream. "Who are you?" Jake demanded, his voice trembling. The woman stepped forward, her movements jerky and unnatural. "Leave this place," she whispered, her voice like the rustle of dry leaves. Panic set in. They turned to flee, but the door wouldn't budge. The temperature dropped further, and the woman's presence seemed to grow stronger. She reached out, her fingers like icicles, and Sarah felt a cold grip on her arm. "Please, let us go," Sarah pleaded. The woman's face twisted in agony. "You must listen." Before they could react, the room began to spin. The walls distorted, and the friends felt themselves being pulled into darkness. When the spinning stopped, they found themselves in a different room entirely, a grand dining hall, set for a feast long forgotten. At the head of the table sat a figure, rotting and skeletal. The friends realized they were surrounded by ghosts, spectral figures trapped in an eternal dinner party. The woman from before stood among them, her expression now one of sorrow. "You have to help us," she said, her voice echoing in their minds. "We are bound to this place, cursed to relive our final moments. You must break the curse." But how? Mike asked, fear gripping his heart. The woman pointed to a book on the mantelpiece, its cover marked with ancient symbols. "The answer lies within. Hurry before it's too late." They rushed to the book, flipping through its pages filled with spells and incantations. Emily found the passage they needed, a ritual to break the curse. They gathered the necessary items from around the manor: candles, a mirror, and a piece of the manor itself. As they chanted the incantation, the air grew heavy, and the spirits around them began to wail. The manor shook, and the walls seemed to pulse with a dark energy. The friends held hands, focusing on the ritual. With a final, unified shout, they completed the spell. A blinding light filled the room, and the spirit screamed one last time before dissolving into the air. The manor groaned, as if in relief, and then fell silent. The friends found themselves back in the foyer, the air now fresh and light. The curse was broken. They stumbled out of Blackwood Manor, the dawn breaking on the horizon. As they looked back, the once haunted house seemed almost peaceful. The friends vowed never to speak of that night again, but they knew they had freed the souls trapped within. As they drove away, the sun rising behind them, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death.